Welcome back, everybody, to the House of Cards. Thank you again for joining us as always. I'm excited because it is almost fight night. This Saturday night is going to be a huge heavyweight title fight in UFC between these two fellas that I have out here, Mr. Francis Ngannou and Mr. Ciryl Gane. So the big fight, top of the card. This is the one that everyone's been waiting for. There are a lot of other great, interesting matches that are on the card. However, I don't think that I really want to talk about those because as far as the card market goes, these are the two that matter, and that's who we're going to focus on today. So before we get into that, you know the usual stuff. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it'd be amazing if you do. Of course, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on who's going to win. This is only the day before the fight this video comes out, so we'll see how much speculating we can get in before the actual fight happens. And then, of course, if you enjoyed the video at the end, hit the like button. So we're back here with the UFC Friday. Yes, I haven't done one for a couple weeks, so I wanted to get one out here, and especially this Friday because tomorrow is the big day, and we definitely need to talk a little bit about this specific fight. This won't be a long video. I just want to give you my quick 2 cents on what I think about the fight, the cards, kind of the future for both fighters, and we'll kind of, go from there. So, without too much speculating, I just want to first, kind of show you guys a little bit about, the two fighters and who they are, sort of what their backgrounds are within the sport, and then we'll kind of go a little bit into the actual card market values of what they're doing. So I have a couple of things to look at here. So let's talk about where they currently stand. So both Ngannou and Gane are in the heavyweight division. Of course, big boys in the UFC. Ngannou is the current champion and Gane is the interim champion. So basically, those are your kind of, 1A and 1B there to kind of who holds the title. They both have belts. Of course, Ngannou has the true championship belt, so that's the one that Gane wants to get. So let's start by looking at a little bit of Ciryl Gane here. So he is 31 years old. He is active out of the MMA factory in Paris, France. Ironically, that is also where Ngannou used to train before he left and moved to Vegas, left behind his trainer, kind of started over with a new training team, and that's kind of where the interesting connection is there between Gane and Ngannou. So Gane's height, 76 inches, 245 weight. So he's actually a little bit on the smaller size for heavyweights, and you'll see that here shortly when we look at Ngannou. He debuted in 2019, so very new to the UFC. However, he was fighting in different leagues before the UFC, like TKO Canada and other things like that. So leg reach, all that stuff. Sounds good. All right, let's take a look at Mr. Ngannou here and look at his stats. So there we go. He is 35 years old, so a few years older. Height, exactly the same, but look at that weight difference from 245 to 262. So a 17-pound weight difference for Ngannou. He debuted in 2015, so definitely has a few more years of experience. And then reach and all that stuff is, within a couple inches of each other. So nothing to really focus in on there. All right, so you kind of see, it's going to be, it's a pretty well-matched fight. The key takeaways here from looking at the stats is obviously the weight, as I mentioned, definitely favors Ngannou. The experience definitely, favors Ngannou as well, as he's been doing it in the UFC at a high level for a while, right? But just, he wasn't the fighter he is now not that long ago. So if really he turned the corner on kind of becoming a more well-rounded UFC fighter, MMA fighter particularly, around the time of his second fight with Miocic, which when a lot of people kind of noticed that he had more sophisticated skill set that he developed. You could kind of say his early career, really, he was just sort of a banger. He was just in there to hit you with that one massive shot that could just put you to sleep, which he still has that ability, don't get me wrong. However, he's developed a lot more skills around his, overall MMA fighting. So ultimately, you can say he has more experience, but I think if you look at the two side by side as kind of who really has a better skill set, it kind of just in general, I think most people say Ciryl Gane does because he's a lot more fluid in his fighting abilities. His kicks are really strong. He's got a great ground game and so on. So I think, while Ngannou may have the pure knockout power that nobody else has I think Dana White said, getting hit by him was like a certain car driving 15, 25 miles an hour into you or something. Some silly like kind of analogy for that. But when it comes to pure fighting skills, I definitely would say Cyril Gane has the advantage there. But it only takes one punch, right, for Ngannou to take anybody out. So you just never know what's going to happen. That's why the fight's so intriguing. So now you know a little bit about the fight, kind of who's favorite. Last time we checked the line, it was a slight advantage for Cyril Gane on the betting line. So even Vegas doesn't have this as being a runaway, win for either one. It's gone kind of back and forth. It was really close earlier in the week, and now it's starting to, the bets are starting to come in a little bit heavier for Gane, but I could, you never know. I could see that changing as well as we get closer. Okay, so now that we kind of talked about the fighters in the background and a little bit of the history, and one important part to mention as well is that their history, they were definitely friends. Like you may or may not have seen, they have sparred together multiple times, and Cyril Gane and Ngannou met back at the MMA factory in Paris. They definitely have sparring sessions that actually are on videotape. You can go watch them on YouTube, where you kind of see the real differences in their styles and techniques, and it definitely, by looking at them just in a purely sparring session, you would definitely say Cyril Gane looks like the more skilled fighter. But of course, this is just sparring. There's no real widowmakers being thrown during these sessions. So again, think that's part of the reason why a lot of people have faith that Gane may win, is because of these sparring session videos that they've seen, and the fact that Gane looked really good in those, and he looked definitely a level above Ngannou. So who's to know though, right? There's a lot of training that's going on behind the scenes, and those videos are a little bit dated at this point. So granted, we'll have to wait and see, but let's talk about the cards now that we've kind of spent a little time looking at the fighters and kind of talking about that. So the cards basically are pretty simple. Francis Ngannou's first major cards were 2017 Topps Chrome, which is the very first Topps Chrome set. So it's kind of a nice, he's one of those, major kind of rookies in that set, along with, Valentina Shevchenko and a couple others. So that, they really kind of anchor that set. It's not only the first Topps Chrome UFC set, but, a couple massive stars are also in that set as their rookies. Cyril Gane, however, his first cards didn't come out until 2021. So he really doesn't have anything in previous Topps stuff. He's only in the Panini stuff. So his primary card is probably his Prism card. So we'll take a look here. I pulled up two different cards that I thought were somewhat comparable. There hasn't been a ton of sales for Cyril Gane Prism cards because there just hasn't. I think there was like an HGA 9.5 and something else that was sold way back in like November. So I wanted to find something that sold recently because, of course, with the fight being right here, the hype and the buildup is definitely happening right now for pricing. So prices are spiking all over the place. But let's look right here. So here's one that I found. This is the Cyril Gane 2021 Select. This is the Octagon side, so same thing as field level if you're a football guy, or court side, or whatever it is if you're basketball. So Octagon side is the kind of shortest print parallel of the card of this. So this is his base card, but it is the highest value one, and it's a silver also, so it adds value. So there you go. That one sold just a week ago or so for in a PSA 9 for $585. So that went at auction for that much. So very good price for that card, especially considering he hasn't won a championship yet. I mean, he has the interim, which is fine, but he hasn't won a true championship yet. Definitely a lot of speculating that he's going to win, and I think these prices reflect it. All right, now let's look at something. I found something that I thought was comparable. It's kind of hard though, with all the Prism and Select sort of being the hobby darling right now. The Topps Chrome 2017 is definitely an all-time classic set, but definitely may not be driving the prices that the Prism and the Select cards do. So, but to look at the Francis Ngannou, you got to look at that set as that being his main card. So here you go. I pulled a PSA 9. I want to keep the kind of grade the same and the grading company the same. I pulled out the Diamond Refractor, which is also a no number short print card, just like the Octagon Silver was. But these were, only came out of hot boxes and stuff. So these were pretty rare, but definitely not super common, low pops. So you can see here, this one sold January 20th, just a couple days ago here for $177.50. So huge price comparison there with two cards that are kind of in the same, I guess, vein of, popular card sets, also short printed variations that fetched a way different price point there. So what I think this is telling me here is that, there's a lot more faith in Cyril Gane winning on Saturday than there is in Ngannou. Now, we don't know that, Ngannou has a big, fan base. A lot of, his cards move pretty regularly. But the fact that his prices really don't seem to be reflecting, what could potentially be a big win for him if he ended up, for some reason knocking out Gane. I mean, that would be crazy. And I think a lot of people would probably lose their minds and buy up every Ngannou card out there. But for the most part, right now, you can grab some Ngannou cards for pretty cheap. So again, is that the card market telling us who they think is going to be the winner? Probably is. So anyways, decide for yourself, right? I think, the Vegas odds are probably accurate. It can go either way with maybe a slight edge to Gane, but ultimately, you should make that call. If you want to pick up cards, I recommend doing it, probably, if you want to speculate and guess who's going to win and grab a card before the fight, I mean, that's always a way of doing it. I wouldn't wait till after the fight because, whoever wins is going to spike, whoever loses is going to dip. So unless you want to buy someone on the dip, that's a good time to buy as well. But overall, it's a fun time right now because whenever there's a big fight like this, the market definitely is a real interesting and volatile place. So hopefully you got some cards early, you have them, and you're waiting for the fight like me to see which ones are going to go up and go down and all around. So anyways, that's all I have today, guys. I just want to drop a quick video just talking about the fight coming up tomorrow night. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you have anything to say or comments about who you think is going to win, make sure you drop that below. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and all that good stuff. All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed this UFC Friday video. We will see you on the next one. Peace.